So I haven't seen my reptile room in a month. I think it's time to update you guys on what's going on and what it's like to be gone from your reptile room for an entire month straight. Allow me to explain. Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike with Alpha Reptile, back with another video today. And today, like I already mentioned, I'm going to be telling you guys what it's like to leave your reptile room for an entire month. Now, during that month I was gone, I was actually in Ontario as well as Michigan, helping Brian out with the Reptarium expansion. If you wanted to see some of the results of that and the footage as well as photos that I got, you can follow me on my Instagram, link somewhere on the screen right now for you guys to check out. I typically keep Instagram the most up to date. I post stuff there that I typically don't even talk about on YouTube, so that's somewhere to follow me if you guys are interested. This time my trip was from February 2nd till March 6th. I'm back now, obviously. It is March 7th now, so I actually have been home for not even 24 hours, actually. And it is true, I have seen my reptile room. I have done a couple things just to kind of routine maintenance type deals, but the big things that have happened, I've left alone, and I'm going to show you guys. I get asked all the time how I make it possible to go on these trips, to leave my pets, who takes care of them, what happens to them when I'm gone. I'm fortunate enough that my mom actually takes care of my animals. When we both go on vacation, which happened a lot earlier in my life, I'd have a friend take care of the stuff. He got paid pretty well, so that's something you have to factor in, obviously, in the trip cost or saving before you leave. You need to factor in what you're going to be paying the person to. Now, for my whole room, we paid my buddy $20 to $25 a day. That included him coming in, feeding the cats, as well as giving water to the cats, then coming into my room, making sure things like fruit fly cultures were made once a week, feeding the springtail cultures, and then just routine maintenance, making sure the animals were fed, making sure they were all misted properly if I didn't have a mister at the time. He was in charge of just everything. So he'd be here for anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours depending on the day, and I think even sometimes he'd be here a lot less than that. If you guys are wondering how much time it takes, from talking to my mom about it, it takes her about 45 minutes a day to look after the animals. That's just routine, and then on weekends it took her about an hour total to do things like the isopod feeding as well as the fruit fly culture making. So I really thank my mom a ton for doing that while I was away. For those of you guys that are out there that don't have that option, there's always people. You can train a friend. You can hopefully have some friends that are into reptiles that you can rely on. I know right now we're trying to book a trip for the summertime to Costa Rica. Again, I'm so excited. But my girlfriend's actually struggling to find someone to look after her animals. We think one of her friends might do it, but yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not always possible, and you just got to make things work at that point. I think we can actually get to showing you guys some of the cages and things like that. Of course, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave them in the comment section. I probably wouldn't have covered it already, and maybe if I get enough comments about a certain topic, I'll talk about it in another video. But this video, I really did just want to show you guys what's happened in the room. Some good, some bad, some things I'm happy didn't happen. Let's get into it. The first thing that you see when you come into the room is these guys here. These are the Bradypodium thamnobates, the dwarf chameleons, and they are probably the worst for wear in terms of tank. Now, both tanks have actually had an outbreak of scale. Thankfully, none of the scale has really touched my beautiful coffee plant that I have in there. In fact, it's doing so well. It's flowering all over the place. It's just doing incredible, and he's doing well as well, obviously. This is what my task is, and I've actually already gone out to the garden center. It's going to be to rip out these Schefflera arbicola, these plants right here, and to replace them with something else. You can see all these kind of wet spots on the glass, like up here, and it looks like the leaves are soaking wet. That's because of those little dudes right there. Now, those are all scale pests. So these are a pest that attacks your plants, and they basically poop out a waste that is a sugar of some kind. I don't know if it's just straight glucose or what it is. But yeah, it's basically a sticky sugar substance, and that's what I'm dealing with in both of these tanks. Like, this plant looks awful, and it looks soaking wet. Now, first thing on my list is to get these guys sorted. I'm not going to be doing everything in this video because that would make this video like an hour long. I'm just going through what needs to be done. I'll take note of it and do it. So, sprucing up their cages, making them look nice, putting new plants in, cleaning the glass. I'm going to add a little bit more substrate to this tank just because, yeah, I mean, there's just not quite as much substrate as there is in that tank, so I'm going to top it up on there. And then that's pretty much it. Both the chameleons are looking pretty good health-wise. I was worried that she might give birth to some babies. Fortunately, that's not the case. I wasn't worried about him at all. He's a little punk, so that's kind of the first not so great thing that I noticed when I walked in here. The second, and probably one of the more devastating things, was this little baby frog tank. Now, fortunately, the frogs are still doing well. The frogs are still in here, and they're actually growing really, really well. If you guys are interested and are in Canada and want some of these frogs, let me know. These are the Ufaga Pumilio Almirante. They're doing very well. You can see one of the little babies right there. But this tank used to be looking glorious. Now, when we go in there, you can see that it's mostly dead plant matter. Most of it is. Obviously, this Philodendron bradantium, I'm pretty sure, is doing really well. And my Dryadella cristata is also not dead, so that's nice. But most of the other plants in here aren't doing so well. I had the whole back wall covered with this begonia, it's Begonia Maldonado. Like I said, the importance of detailed notes. Something that I don't even think about when misting these is flooding the tank, because I only mist this tank every 2 to 3 days. It holds humidity really well, so I really don't mist it all that often, and I never have to worry about it flooding. However, I told my mom that everything needs to be misted daily, so she misted daily, obviously. That's what she was told to do. That's what she's going to do. It flooded. I've already drained it, so you can't really tell, but I pulled out all this water between that tank and my other dart frog tank. The other tank obviously isn't flooded. It's still doing awesome, but just this one in general, you know, took a hit for the worse. There's the adult size one. I think it will bounce back pretty well, which is nice, but yeah, it just sucks. One of those things, you know? Now, I guess really the last kind of not so great thing to happen when I was gone is because I set up these tanks right before I left, they didn't do so well and didn't fare so well. So I think there's a couple solutions to the problem. You can see that a lot of the plants ended up passing away. At least their water dishes are clean. Now, I did clean those out last night because my mom left food in there, so they weren't the cleanest things in the world. But overall, I mean, the tanks are looking decent. They're just not doing great. So what I plan to do is buy a under tank heater, a plant one, so it's like a giant one. And then I'm actually going to put it underneath the tank. It'll add some humidity to the tank, which is nice, because right now you can see the substrate is definitely moist, but the tanks aren't all that humid right now. This side seems to be doing a bit better than the other side, but still, either way, neither of them are really doing super, super well. I was kind of hoping I'd come home to see these like fully grown in and looking awesome, but that's not the case, unfortunately. Thankfully, the turtles are doing pretty well. Due to the cooler temperatures, they haven't been super, super active, unfortunately. Obviously, still a good weight. They're not like starving or withering away or anything, but it could use a little bit more heat. And you can see the other little one over there, looking nice and beautiful. So besides me having coronavirus, that's only partially a joke. I'm sick, but I don't have a coronavirus. I don't think. Besides that, that's really all the bad stuff that happened that I've found, at least thus far. I don't know. Like, I've checked on everybody. Everybody's still alive, so that's a positive. Sky does need a bit of a bath. He just has some stuck scales, so I'm just going to give him a bath for him to shed those off. But beyond that, everybody's actually doing pretty darn swell. We can turn away from the bad and go towards the good stuff that has happened. First, we need to take a break to hydrate. This is a shameless plug. He didn't pay me at all to do this, but if you are looking for some of these stickers, Keith with reptilesorus.ca, I'll leave a link in the description, sells these. They're epic, and they are really, really high quality stickers. Now, definitely most notably of the new good stuff to happen is so many morning gecko babies. Now, that's obviously an adult back there, but just last night, I was able to count like 13 geckos in here. As you can see, there's a bunch right back there. There's just so many in this tank, it's nuts. And even worse is that this tank is also morning geckos. So one of these tanks I just need to tear down and kind of mesh them into one. Obviously, it's going to be the smaller one with the weird blue light that I really don't like. That will be moved into these here. I might even upgrade them into a 12-12-24 rather than a 12-12-18. Just because there are so many geckos in here. They could use the upgrade. Another thing is these right here. I mean, I don't know how well we're gonna be able to see this, but check that out. In the Pumilio tank, we got some new tadpoles hatching, ready to be picked up and moved into their little ponds. What else do we got? We got 2 clutches of eggs. We got one there. Little small one up top there. So obviously the Ufaga Pumilio are doing pretty well and enjoying their new digs. Well, I guess it's not new digs, but they're digs with some filled out foliage. Like I said, if you guys are in Canada and want some frogs, let me know. Or if you guys are in Canada and want some morning geckos, let me know, because I have so many of them. I do give bulk discounts, so if you're buying multiples, I drop the price of them. Now, we gotta talk about what the heck's going on up there. This will actually be a surprise to me. It's been like 16 hours since I got home, so I haven't actually checked what this bin is doing, but it's just so rammed of plants. I can only imagine how the frogs are doing. Hopefully well, because my mom was feeding them. Let's take it down. Let's check it out. All right, I got the bin down. Judging by what I can see up here, there's definitely going to be some burnt plants. That's a given. Hopefully there's no crispy frogs. This is totally unstaged. I really am actually opening this for the first time. Obviously they needed a water change, so that's something I'm going to do right now. It is quite hot in here. It doesn't smell, so that's a good sign. Oh, there we go. All right, well that's the male, or the like supposed male, so that's a good sign. Hopefully, if he's still alive, I know he is. Female likes to lie on the ground. Getting to the ground right now is not an easy task. Hello? Yeah, she looks okay. I see her down there. I know you guys probably don't see her, but I see her down there. Obviously, what we're going to need to do in here is do a massive trimming of the plants, and I'm actually setting up a slightly bigger bin for them. So I might even go to Walmart after this and see if I can find one of the like really big bins and put them in there. I honestly think bins are the way to go with these guys right now, just because they love the humidity and they're thriving so far. One of the perks is, look at these plants. I mean, besides the burnt ones at the top, the plants are thriving. So that's one of the perks with plants. That's a huge relief to me. I'm very happy that these guys aren't crispy and toasted, because I would be very, very upset about that. I guess while I'm here, I can just put these guys off to the side for a sec and say that the next one of the things that I'll be doing... Why is there a spoon in the cricket bin? I don't know. The cricket bin needs to be changed, or just sifted through, take out all the dead crickets. Pisces didn't actually have any crickets today, so I'm either going to have to go tomorrow or the next day to grab some crickets. Another one of the things that's kind of weird, and I guess backwards, is she didn't lay. Olga hasn't laid any eggs yet, As you can see, she is still kind of chunky. I haven't fed them today, so she's mostly digested her meal from yesterday, and she's still looking real chunky. So hopefully she does have eggs in her. Fingers crossed that they're going to be laid in the next month or so, would be my guess, if she is gravid. Hopefully she's not just a massive lizard. That would be less than ideal. But I don't actually have an incubator, so that's something that I'm working on doing. And if she would have laid eggs, my mom would have been in a blind panic, and that's something that I'd rather not deal with when I'm out east. I'm not going to do it in this video, but it looks like the terrarium plants are doing okay. It doesn't look like they've gone through any major turmoil or anything. One thing that I need to figure out, though, is the fruit fly scenario. I know the fruit flies weren't really popping the way they should have been. I'm definitely going to have to get on making some new cultures and figuring out what's going on with these guys, as well as talking to Lucas from Jungle Jewel to see if he has any extra cultures that he'd be willing to sell me. And that's actually going to do it for this video. That's kind of everything. You guys saw what's going on in the room. I know it's not really a reptile room update, and that's not what I intended it to be, because I plan to upload one of those too. As you can see, there is a ton that still needs to be done in the room. I need to give Sky a bath. I need to upgrade the frogs. I actually need to upgrade the little baby elegant sand gecko. I didn't show you guys him in the video, but he's massive now, so that's going to be exciting. There's a lot of stuff that I need to do from this video, obviously, that you guys can see. So I'm going to get working on that stuff and getting it all done. I want to thank you guys all very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Just remember that you really need to make detailed notes for those of you that are going away, because what we might think is intuitive, and especially for somebody like me that has so many animals, if I'm taking somebody like my mom that loves animals but doesn't really know a heck of a lot about them, they need guidance. They don't have the reptile knowledge or the expertise in the animals that I keep, and so they're going to be totally waiting for instructions to go do this. And if it's not on there, don't expect them to do it. If it is on there, in my case, like mist, everything once a day, floods happen and plants die. We can't have that anymore. Yeah, seriously, I really do need to get to work here, so I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, make sure you leave it in the comment section. Let me know how you guys like this style video. It was kind of just me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, blabbling about what I need to do, but hopefully I shared some useful tips for you guys. If you guys want some more detailed videos on this kind of thing, leave that in the comment section down below as well. Stay tuned for a couple builds, obviously the Chameleon builds that I still haven't posted, so whoops. I built a leopard gecko tank with my girlfriend when I was out east, so that's going to be really exciting. It's probably just as good, if not better, than Strikers, so that pains me to admit, and I'm sure when she watches this video, but she probably won't, then I will hear about it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you want to see more videos like this. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, like I already said, leave them in the comment section. If you want to see more reptile content and maybe some other content, I could do some plant stuff, I could do a bunch of different things. Make sure you click that subscribe button and play Ding Dong Dish with the doorbell next to it. That way you get notified every single time I post a video. I'm glad to be home. It kind of sucks that I had to leave my girlfriend back in Ontario, but I got to get some stuff done, and then it's moving time. But maybe first vacation. I don't know. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Later. See what I mean about him getting so big? He's like tripled in size. What the heck, dude? Time to get you a real setup in that bad boy.